Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another video. Over the last couple of years, interest in Star Wars lore has declined, and there are honestly many reasons for it. But cast your mind back to a time where we were going all out on Grogu theories. Those have really died down, and it's mainly because we've already had a lot of answers. Grogu's name was revealed in Season 2, he rejected his Jedi training with Luke in the Book of Boba Fett, and in Season 3 he was officially knighted Din Grogu, and is a Mandalorian apprentice under the guidance of his father, Din Djarin, the one who adopted him. But there is one question that's been bothering me ever since Grogu started reconnecting with the Force. Why haven't we seen Yoda's Force ghost? It makes sense if Yoda could not contact Grogu during the Dark Times from Dagobah because Grogu's mind went blank. Between whenever he departed from Keller and Beck's protection and ended up on Arvala 7, Grogu was cut off from the Force. So before his death in Return of the Jedi, it makes sense that if Yoda tried reaching out to Grogu, he couldn't feel him. But now that Grogu has reconnected, and is connecting with all kinds of creatures, the Mythosaur, Boba's Rancor, you name it, why hasn't Master Yoda's ghost appeared to him? And before we go any further, I just want to address a common rebuttal. Every time I make videos like this, I get similar comments to this one. Something along the lines of, why do the characters have to be related? Can we just move on and stop trying to connect everything? And there is a point to this, even if they are the same species, there is no inherent link. They never confirmed this. They never said Yoda was his dad. That is pure fan speculation. But let's be real here. Let's read between the lines. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni didn't make the child a Yoda species for nothing. They wanted fans to think of Yoda. They wanted us to think, did the two know each other once upon a time? Grogu might have even trained under Yoda back on Coruscant. And the Ahsoka episode of The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 13 The Jedi, kind of alluded to the fact Grogu did know Yoda. It makes sense, he was the Grand Master. But because they share a species, and because that species, which is unnamed, all seem to have the Force, there might be a deeper bond between them. And with this in mind, and the link the creatives have tried to make, let's answer the question, why hasn't Yoda's Force ghost appeared to Grogu? Or has he, and we all missed it? As you're going to see, my dear friends, I would say there is a very good answer to this, one which Lucasfilm already revealed. In both canon and the expanded universe, the Yoda species' homeworld is a mystery and a secret which Master Yoda didn't divulge to anyone. There is implication in one or two sources Mace Windu knew about it, but not its name and not its location. And even if he knew about it, he knew how much it meant to Yoda to never reveal it to anyone else, especially after the Clone Wars broke out. And given this inherent protectiveness that Yoda and Yaddle would have had about their kind, it would be safe to assume Grogu was seen as a very special youngling. And even if they weren't related to him, they may have taken extra precautions to protect him, because their species ages very slowly and is scarce. At the age of 50 years old in The Mandalorian, Grogu is still an infant, so he was even younger when Order 66 broke out, when Kelleran rescued him. But in all of the episodes of The Mandalorian so far, Yoda's Force spirit has never visibly appeared to Grogu, and this absence raises a fascinating question. Why would he remain unseen to a child he surely cared about? I'll let you guys in on a little secret. As The Mandalorian continues now on the big screen, I do believe there are plans by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to reveal more about Grogu's backstory, not just what happened with Kelleran, but also what the child knows and remembers about his past as he begins to speak, as his mind continues to uncloud after being cut off from the Force during the entirety of the Galactic Civil War. So there are some pretty surface level reasons. Number 1, up until this point, Grogu just wasn't ready. There was no reason in the story itself for Yoda to visit him. As we see across Star Wars canon, Force spirits visit in times of need, and they often appear to characters who had a strong bond to them when they were alive. For instance, Obi-Wan appearing to Luke, Yoda appearing to Luke, Anakin appearing to Ahsoka. In some canon material like Vader's castle, Force spirits can appear to just anyone, but only if there's a good reason. Up until now, there has been no reason for Yoda to appear to Grogu. But here's where things get very intriguing. What if this encounter has already happened, and we just missed it because we didn't see Grogu's perspective, and he can't really communicate it if it did happen? My theory is that there are two different occasions in Season 2 where Grogu may have facilitated that interaction. The first was on the Seeing Stone of Tython, when he reached out in the Force and his presence was detected by Luke. maybe Yoda's Force spirit communed with him and convinced Luke that this child was worth saving from Gideon's forces, even if he ended up not training in the ways of the Jedi. But what if on the Seeing Stone, Grogu also had a Force connection to Yoda's Force spirit? But personally, the most compelling case was in Chapter 13, when Ahsoka gently probed Grogu's memories. It was probably the first time Grogu had opened himself up like this since the days of the Republic, before the rise of Darth Sidious and the Galactic Empire. And when Ahsoka says she's only known one other being like this, a wise Jedi Master called Yoda, did you hear that Yoda's theme can be heard? And Grogu coos and turns his head, because he acknowledges that was someone he knew. Whether he was related or not, Yoda was the Grand Master during his time, and like I say, they're of the same species. But what if the Force theme was more than just an Easter egg? What if eventually they reveal Yoda's Force ghost, in that moment, appeared to Grogu, being present for a very important conversation? You might also argue Yoda's rationale is non-interference, and letting Grogu find his own path, whatever that's going to mean. We think we know where Grogu's story is going to end up, but there are so many unknowns. Favreau always said Season 3 was the halfway mark of the Mandalorian story, so there is so much more to come. I do think Grogu will stick with the Mandalorian stuff for the time being, but it's always been my hope he will return to the ways of the Jedi, even if that means combining the two doctrines, walking both paths. And if that's the case, there is no need for Yoda at the moment. He may remain unseen, out of wisdom and restraint, until the day comes where Grogu may need his advice. And by the way, just because Grogu isn't a Jedi at the moment, doesn't mean he won't return to that path one day. As Luke said, he's got lifetimes ahead of him. But with the question of why Yoda's Force spirits didn't visit Grogu, the key word is spiritual readiness. Take the Obi-Wan Kenobi show for example. For many years after settling down on Tatooine, Obi-Wan tried to commune with his old master, Qui-Gon Jinn, and heard nothing in return. It was only after Obi-Wan had regained his faith in the Force and found inner peace that Qui-Gon's spirit finally appeared to him, and Qui-Gon's words in the last episode reveal the reason. "I was always here, Obi-Wan, you just were not ready to see." This canon moment confirms that a Force ghost can be present, yet invisible and inaudible to a person who isn't spiritually prepared. Once Obi-Wan resolved his emotional turmoil and reopened himself to the Force, his perception and attunement shifted, and he could behold his master's ghost. Applying this to Grogu, is he ready to see a Force ghost? Another question, even if Favreau wants us to make the visual connection, is it relevant to the story? Should they even go about doing this? What do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you want to see Master Yoda as a Force spirit again, this time reaching out to Grogu?